There is hardly a more shining example of beauty in sport. Their speed, strategy, and stamina. Not to mention the picture postcard nature of the event. The Tour de France would seem to have it all. But what of the side of the sport that repeatedly rears its ugly head? The one that nobody really wants to talk about? Well, new questions about cheating and performance-enhancing drugs rode right into the heart of Paris last summer. And a winner's claim on one of the most coveted titles in sport shattered in controversy like never before.
It just wrecks. That's what I thought. Just wrecks everything. Just everything is just ruined.
Professional cycling, indeed the Tour de France, is grueling and glamorous. But it is also in big trouble. Over the years, there has been scandal after scandal. The sport's credibility eroding with each positive drug test. And there have been a lot of them. On the eve of last year's Tour, dozens of cyclists, including some top contenders, were banned from competing. Then, weeks later, Tour winner Floyd Landis, heir apparent to cycling superstar Lance Armstrong, failed a doping test. It was the biggest single scandal in cycling history, but few doubt it will be the last. There are no mountains in Manhattan, just concrete canyons. So, no fancy bike for Floyd Landis. A New York taxi is his ride this morning. It's been more than 5 months since he became the face of cheating in sport. More than 5 months of walking what some would call a predictable path of denial. In this exclusive Canadian interview, Landis speaks candidly about climbing to the heights of professional cycling, then descending into the hell, really, of infamy.
I can't possibly put into words how I felt. It basically deleted the race from my mind. I haven't thought about that since. All I think about is trying to solve this problem which has been created. And I feel really sad about that. I hope one day I can watch the race and actually enjoy it again.
So you haven't watched it since?
No. I don't, at this point, have any desire to.
No desire to watch the race again. And yet it truly was one for the history books, for so many dramatic reasons. No wonder he's in New York, shopping the story to publishers.
Grew up in Pennsylvania, in a Mennonite family, and I ended up somewhere very far from that. So we can make an entertaining story if we just tell the truth, I think.
Now, before we tell you more of Landis's entertaining story, a word about the truth from this man, Frankie Andreu, who, as you'll see, will become an important character in our story. He's a family guy now, with wife Betsy and 3 kids. But several years back, he was a professional cyclist, even rode in the Tour de France. In other words, he knows a thing or two about getting ready for the sport's premier event. And how did he do it? Well, recently, Andreu made a rare disclosure. He admitted that he doped. In 1999, he took EPO, a blood booster that can help cyclists increase their endurance. This is the first time Andreu has spoken about it on television.
I raced for 12 years as a professional. I used EPO at a certain moment. The sport at that time I felt was kind of out of control. There wasn't, EPO was banned, but it wasn't really tested for, and it seemed like there was a lot of people using it.
Andreu was never a really big cycling star, but he kept company with some of the Tour's best riders, including Lance Armstrong. For years, the American icon was a teammate and close friend. And for years, Andreu kept the truth about his own use of a banned drug a secret.
It helps. It doesn't make you Superman, doesn't make you into a champion, but if a lot of people are taking EPO and you take EPO, then you can kind of come up to where maybe you should belong. You don't really speak about it, and you don't say much about it because you're not proud of it.
Andreu's still not proud of it. But, he says, talking honestly about the past is the only way to help clean up the present.
Just because something seems to be accepted and practiced and doesn't seem to be any big deal doesn't make it right. It's still wrong. And that's what I'm trying to convey to others, that, you know, we can't keep trying to not tell the truth and trying to keep things secret when, you know, the sport is hurting the way it is.
Floyd Landis acknowledges the sport is hurting, acknowledges there's a history of cheating. What he denies is that he's one of the cheaters. Yet there may have been some people who watched the tour last summer and wondered. Indeed, what happened was cyclists race a punishing 600 kilometers over 3 weeks on a hill disintegrating, rotting away. But the American overcame. Week 3 found himself headed for victory. On that day, though, stage 16 of 20, he suffered a monumental collapse.
Everybody now slowly but surely riding past the yellow jersey. He just cannot lift it at all.
Landis says he hit a wall. It's called bonking in the jargon of cycling. Observers called it a disaster of historic scale.
This is a dramatic collapse by a leader of the Tour de France in any measure of means.
Disappointed that it seemed as though my chances of winning the Tour were pretty much gone.
People were writing you off?
Yeah, I had written it off more or less. I mean, I knew there was a very small chance, and, you know, the long shot doesn't usually win the race. That's all, to be cliche about it.
But the next day, stage 17, the long shot staged an extraordinary, almost unthinkable comeback.
Landis, the man that they counted for dead yesterday, has come right back into the Tour de France.
Landis attacked in the mountains, hunting down, then passing rider after rider. He flew way out, far in front, and no one challenged.
Well, they have seen and witnessed something this afternoon which is going to be talked about for many years in the sport of cycling, for many years in the history of the Tour de France. And
some even called it the ride of the century.
To win this race, that's a nice show of determination, a magnificent piece of revenge. The clock has...
Landis dismisses questions that a banned substance fueled his fire. Frankie Andreu was in France covering the tour on American TV network.
Is this the best colored yellow jersey you've ever pulled over your shoulders?
He interviewed Landis just about every day. He's also been around pro cycling long enough to sniff out the skeptics. So when asked if people had any suspicions after stage 17...
Things are going all right. All right, congratulations. Thanks, Frankie.
They're suspicious every day, no matter who wins. That's a good... it never entered into my mind. I never thought that at all. I thought it was just a very gutsy ride and an incredible ride.
A few days after that, Landis pedaled into Paris, wearing the yellow jersey. Victory. But no sooner was Lance Armstrong's successor crowned that cycling officials began leaking word someone had tested positive. Bad enough for a sport under strain. A day later, when officials confirmed it was Landis...
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I literally did not believe it. First of all, I didn't believe that this could happen, because this was the best Tour de France ever. I could not believe that our sport was just getting completely crumbled again. Couldn't believe that Floyd would do something like this. And I just thought, like, I mean, really, like,